All right, so I'm back. So let's get started about my topic of narcissistic personality disorder. So I am going to start with some of their tactics after I describe narcissistic personality disorder, because some people may just think that that person is crazy or unstable or just horrible to them, or they may even think, and this is more the response, is they think there's something wrong with them, and that's what's creating that other person's reaction to hurt them this way, and that they just keep vying for their attention and vying for them to respect them and change the way that they act and go back to the way that they were in the beginning. So what a narcissist does is they mimic you. So a narcissist is a person who, actually it is proven scientifically that if they have, that true narcissists actually have a part of their brain when they go under an MRI or CT. Hi, the Wonder Mom. And so they that part of a certain part of their brain doesn't light up, so they are lacking. It's not that they're crazy. I don't like to put that title on them. It's not that they're crazy. They're lacking something in their brain, and it could start at early childhood. It could start by their mother or father nurturing them too much. There is nature versus nurture. I'll go into that a different day. I think a lot of us know about that, but so a lot of people question, were they born this way, or did their upbringing or certain things cause them to be this way? And if we do know that person had a traumatic childhood, then we start to, as the victim, we start to say, well, we start to rationalize it and say, they're acting like this because that's all they know. That's the best that they know. And so a narcissist actually is a person who, a lot of people also, say that a narcissist is a person who just thinks so highly of themselves and nobody else can touch them, and they are Superman, Superwoman. It's not just male, it's females as well. You can have a mom, you can have a dad, narcissist. I did not grow up with those, so I gear this more towards romantic relationships, marriages, and just relationships in general. But basically, a narcissist goes through a cycle of what they do is they start out as this person. And what you don't realize is that the entire time when they're getting to know you, or when they, when you first start talking, it's like you'll feel this crazy, like, oh my gosh, I've met the one. And that's because they are mimicking you. They watch you and they see things that you like or dislike. So say, I don't want to get into politics, but just say you're whatever party you are, and they are not, but they'll change that they are. Even my ex-husband, he was a Catholic and I was a non-denominational Christian, and he told me he was that, and he wasn't. He was Catholic, and there is a big difference. Like, if you just think Christianity is all Christianity, like I am faith-based and freedom, relationship based, and I believe what's in the Bible. I don't believe of a lot of things that New Age people come on and try to say things that are not in the Bible. So that was like an example. And then another thing was, I used to work for Harley Davidson, and I'm still contracted with them. I hope to work with them again. My light, I look dark. So he had seen pictures, and I never told him that I worked for Harley Davidson. So he had seen pictures of me with bikes, right? So he thought that I really liked motorcycles. And one day he was like, I'm gonna buy a motorcycle. And I actually didn't want him to. I'm not interested. I'm not into riding bikes. I love to work with people. Like Harley Davidson people are like my favorite people. They're just so awesome. Like, and I hate that they have like a stigma. So anyways, he did that. And then he had realized that an ex of mine had a sleeve of tattoos. I didn't put all of these clues together until years after this. So then another time he said, I'm going to get a sleeve. He had never had a tattoo. And I talked to his ex-wife before me, and she said, he can't even handle a needle. And luckily I was not married to him as long as she was. They were married for 7 years and had 2 children. He and I have 1 child, but it didn't last very long. But so like these are little signs. So while you are getting to know this person, everything seems perfect. Everything seems like, wow, like I'm literally meeting the other half of me. This is the person that is going to complete me. I really think this is the one. They have all of the likes that I like. So, whenever he would say things that he was going to do and that he, was interested in, if I told him, no, I'm not interested in that. Like, he talked a lot about money because he thought that, I was really into money and materialistic things. And I'm very much not. I'm like so frugal. I am like $2 is a lot to me. Like I'm just super not like that. So I shot that one down. And so then he started becoming like this frugal freak. Like, I love to shop at Ross too, like, and all of that. So it was just like so crazy. I could continue with all of these things, these are just little subtle things that they do. They get to know what you are like, and then they try to match that and mimic that when that is not their personality. Now, let me tell you, narcissists don't have a personality. They are chameleons. So for whatever the narcissist I know, and so I'm talking differently than I do at like conferences because I do like abroad speaking. But when I'm talking here, I'm kind of helping you guys through my experience because I don't want anyone else to have it. And it also helps me. It helps me to help others, and it helps me to, let certain things out. Even if I've let them out 1,000,000 times through a counselor, it still helps me to let it out. I didn't drink, so he didn't drink. He did, actually, in the closet. So it was just a lot of different things that, for a very, very, very long time, I did not notice. And what's crazy is my parents and my family and my friends all knew something was not right. They didn't know what it was, but and especially my sister, she like has this huge, like, I don't know, she just like knows right then and there. And she knows that is the wrong person. I mean, he was 6'4", the most handsome man ever. Like I still love him. I will say that. I still love him to the day that I die. He's the father of my child, and I will always love him. I really will. And he hates me for no reason. Hates me. So first off, red flag is if someone, like, let's say you have crosses on your house and they see that and then they start talking a lot about God, or just they see that, like, things you've never told them about, but they have had access to see, like, pictures on Instagram or places you've been, like I used to go to Vegas a lot. So, he was like, oh, Vegas is so cool, blah, 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 blah. And he had never been. And so it was just like all of this stuff, just so many stories, so many lies, so much deception. So, like, if you're getting to know somebody and it's like, you think it's the perfect match, I don't want to say, like, it's not. But I do want to say, sorry, my mouth always is so dry. Be very careful and cautious and kind of like maybe try to throw them off a little bit and see what happens. So, like, for example, I don't know, just like act like you're interested in something and see if that's suddenly an interest of theirs. That's a good way to find out real quick. Or, something else, something that that they wouldn't be interested in, but maybe you have like a picture of like an artist, and you know that they don't like that artist, or they don't like that type of singing or whatever, and you have that, and then all of a sudden they're into that. That right there is a big red flag. So these are all the red flags in the very beginning as this is developing. So what it starts like with narcissistic personality disorder is they are not bad to you. They are very good to you. They do every single thing to get you. They will literally walk on fire to get you, and it's a trap. And it's really, really scary. And, listen to your family and friends, because they'll see that, because eventually once they start dragging you in and pulling you in, what they're going to do is block you out from everybody and isolate you. And that is exactly what happened to me. And then I do also want to I want to make sure I'm still alive. I do also want to point out that they are going to get you, or there was something else I wanted to point out, but I forgot what it was. So they're going to isolate you, and they're going to get you away from all of your friends, so that your entire social network is like only them and you. And so that way you can only believe what you're learning and hearing from them. And everything about you starts turning into what they are. And then it starts a cycle of the real abuse. I'm trying to think of anything else in the beginning. They're going to do everything to swoon you. They're going to do everything, and a lot of things, like I found out he had seen things on my phone of what an ex-boyfriend from years ago, he saw this on my old phone, photos of what my ex-boyfriend had, like certain things that he had done for me, and then also a car that I was going to buy. So I had like 20 pictures, screenshots of this car. And later on, when I left him, he went and actually sold my car, but bought me that exact car. So I knew, obviously there's no reason why he would have picked that. I never had told him that I liked that car. And so he thought that was going to for sure get me back, because he knew that was something that I, had wanted at one time. And so they're going to change everything about themselves. And then in the next relationship, they are going to do the same to the next victim. So you are the victim, and they are the predator. And so you're really not going to see, other than these red flags, you're really not going to see anything wrong. They're not going to abuse you physically, verbally, sexually, financially. And I want to point out that even in like divorces, abuse also counts. Financial abuse also counts. So like when we were married, we never had a joint account. I had a allowance. That's what he called it. It wasn't an allowance. And that's financial abuse. And so anyways, and I was pregnant, so I was not able to work because I was high risk. So anyways, so that's, I brought in some things that I, should have saved for later. But in the beginning, you're just going to think, wow, it's just going to be, wow, I'm in love. Like you're going to fall in love real quick. And I'm the type of person that I don't get close to people quickly. It takes me a very long time to let my guard down. It takes me a very long time to get close to them. This is what I was going to mention earlier, is I'm an empath. And you can look this up and see if maybe you fit the qualities of an empath. And what an empath is they feel the emotions. So there's sympathy, which is feeling bad for somebody, but there's empathy, which is you feel the same emotions that another person feels, even if it didn't happen to you. So say somebody else's family member dies, you feel as if your family member dies. You feel that. So they mostly go for, and this is scientific, this is proven. Just put in Google narcissist versus narcissist and empath. And it will show you, or there are a lot of pages on Instagram, and it's the narcissist and the empath and what they do and back and forth. And that is because empaths not only feel for that person, and they think, there may be some things that are a little off, but I want to give this person a chance because I feel deep. You have a deeper feeling for people. And instead of like, you'll break up with them, but then you'll feel bad. But if you were supposed to break up with them because they did something horrible to you. So, and, once it progresses, maybe you do that one time, okay? One time is okay, but then once it starts happening as like a cycle, then, basically you're allowing it to happen. And I can honestly say that that's true, because I can say that I allowed this. This is what I allowed. So I had found out I was pregnant, and I did not want to be with him anymore, but I wanted my child to have a father, and I wanted a family to be since I was carrying a child. I wanted it to be how I grew up, and I didn't want her to have daddy issues. So I gave the chance, and I moved 1,000 miles away from everybody that I knew. And I never knew anyone during that entire time, not one person except for him. And so every single thing was, I would cook and clean and do all of that, all while pregnant, and taking care of his kids, his other kids, when they had their weekends at his house. And I was basically the babysitter, and I was the chef, and I was the interior decorator, and I was all of this, all while being high risk pregnant. And that was abuse. And I did not see that, because we had a lot of fun together. I still to this day miss so much. I really miss a lot about him. But I have to continuously, and this will be probably a lifetime thing, to remind myself, none of that was real. He does it to the next person. He did it to the next person. He did it to his ex-wife. He did it to the person before that. And it's going to just continue and continue. If at 37 years old, you're still in that habit and you're still stuck, and a big clue also was him and his mother's relationship. She was very codependent, and she was always the one to save. So their relationship was not right, and I was the bad guy. I didn't do anything ever. I didn't do anything to anybody, and I really will say that. Now, I will say, in my past, I have had some huge mistakes, but never before. Never after I met him, because we were not together for a long time. I left when my daughter was 2.5 months old. And also a big part of that is because I got sick. So I had placenta accreta, which is what Kim Kardashian, she has retained placenta. That's why she had to have a surrogate. But placenta accreta is where the uterus is here and the placenta is here, and it grows through the only way, and it can invade other organs. So it invaded my colon. So the only way, so I got so sick, I was on my deathbed. I will post a picture and you guys will not believe it. But the only way to get better is to have a hysterectomy. So I think that also caused so much stress, and it brought out his narcissistic personality disorder side out even more, because what it was he found me immediately after his wife left him because of alcohol and drugs and because of narcissism. And he was actually diagnosed as a narcissist with narcissistic personality disorder. And so I was the revenge card. So I was the next victim, and source of supply is what they call it. So a narcissist relies heavily on a source of supply, but they do not care who it is, really. It's going to be a person, but they don't care who it is. And they cannot stand being told no. They cannot stand being left. So in turn, they will immediately move on. Immediately. And so anyways, some huge things that you need to watch out for in the cycle is, once it starts, it'll start probably first subtly, like financial abuse, and then, some verbal jabs, just some things that you think, people get mad and it's normal, whatever. then it's going to amplify. It's going to amplify to, let's say, here's one, smear campaigning. Smear campaigning is when they are going to reach out to all of your networks, all of your friends, all of the people who know you, all of your colleagues, everybody. They're going to start telling lies about you and that are not true, or they can use some things that you may have done in the past and gotten over, and sorry, my computer, you may have gotten over it, and they will amplify it and make up some crazy story, but there is that little bitty piece of truth, so everybody's going to believe it. I remember a time when people were not on my side. People that loved me, that didn't even know him, were saying that I was in the wrong. And I'm just like, I was just devastated. So that's a huge one. Another one is the cycle of abuse. So where they will say, they will do things to you physically, emotionally, sexually, financially, whatever. They will do these things. And then the reward is swooning you back. They're going to start buying you things. They're going to start whatever it is that they think is going to bring you back in. They're going to start doing that. So they're going to start buying you things, buying you flowers, being just so good to you, taking you out on extravagant dates, taking you, on vacations and doing all of this stuff. When really, at least for me, I just wanted the love. I honestly, I loved him more when he made less money because he was less of a narcissist. Because when narcissists have a higher status level than you, they also feel like they're superior. They already feel like they're superior to you. But then they're going to feel even more superior and use that against you. And so that's another thing. And then they'll do it and then they'll apologize. And then you will end up at the very end of the day, you're going to say, because someone can apologize to you, right? Here's a great example. Drop a plate on the floor. Did it break? Yes. Can you fix it? No. It's still broken. I don't care if you tape it back. It will never go back to what it was. Okay? And so when they continuously do these things, then more cracks on the plate. Okay, so they are going to end up saying they're sorry, and you're going to say, no, I'm just not over this. This is, so hurtful to me. And, you're not over it, but they want you to shut up and they want you to be over it. So they are going to continuously tell you, to get over it, and then eventually they're going to bring you so low and start making jabs at things like, calling you ugly, calling you, I remember he told me that I was too skinny and that I was not attractive because of that. I have a thyroid problem. Okay. That's really a really rude thing to say. That's just the same as calling someone fat or ugly. And, so he would start saying things like that. And then he'd be like, I don't need you anyway, bye, whore, and, stuff like that. And then I would be like, no, I would be like, no, please forgive me. And I would end up apologizing. Guys, that makes no sense. And I'm telling you, I did this all the time. And then I'd be like, what did I just do? And then it would happen again, and I would do it again. So then there comes in other things. So like the rage, they have huge rages. An example for me was when I was in the hospital. I had, I don't know how many surgeries after I had my daughter's birth, or after I gave birth to my daughter, but I had just had a surgery, and I was in the hospital, and he came up there drunk with beer, which neither of us drink. And so, well, he wasn't supposed to be drinking, but he did. We never kept alcohol in our home, all of that. He came up to the hospital and started banging on the wall and in a fit of rage. And it was for no reason. And my mom had come to stay with us because she had to help with my child while I was in the hospital. So she had come from Texas to Florida. and lived at our house, and she said that he was so drunk, and that his parents were there too, and his kids. So he had been drinking and driving with his kids, and high and drunk, and then came in there and showed everybody like modeling pictures of me in either a bikini. I'm no nipples, no anything showing a bikini. Anybody has seen me in a bikini, okay? They saw me pregnant in a bikini. They saw me normal in a bikini. That's not a bad thing. And he was like, oh yeah, you know, she's just such a slut and all of this. And then you know, his dad said, you have been drinking and you're driving with those children, bringing them inside. And then that's when he came to the hospital. So that's an example of a fit of rage. Another thing is they will say what they are. So say they're a cheater. Say they go to see prostitutes. I'm just using examples from my experience. Say they're a cheater. They go to see prostitutes. They, you know, are abusive. They just say whatever, anything wrong that they do, they will start telling you that you do it. So he told me that I was probably a prostitute before I met him, because I caught him with prostitutes. So, and his reasoning in court was a photo of me with cleavage. That's all I had was cleavage. I was with my best friend, and a little bit of cleavage was showing, and that made me a prostitute. And so it was just crazy. But because he had been, you know, caught, proof, and I have various text messages and phone numbers and names of people that he had flown to see, that he had traveled to see, that he had gone to see, and even explicit details. And but yet, because I called him out on that, he then said that was me. Okay. And then he said that because he's crazy, even though I don't like to use that term, but he's mentally unstable. Okay. But to him, that, you know, obviously is crazy. And to most people, mentally unstable is also in turn crazy. So he would call me crazy, and I would start defending myself. I would start defending myself for what he called me, instead of defending myself for saying, I am done with this behavior. Either you get it straight or I'm leaving. And I did say that many times. And then at the end of the whole cycle, I would end up, it would be hours of us going back and forth. And at the end of all of it, I ended up being the sorry one. I ended up apologizing. I ended up begging for him to stay with me. I ended up begging for him to forgive me. And I didn't even know for what. And I even remember my mom had to stay with us. And whenever I was in between the hospital and at home, she would hear us up all night long screaming. And like, and I even have it on video. I mean, on the voice recorder, and it just made absolutely no sense. And another thing was, with all of my surgeries, I had post-op medications, and he stole them over 20 times. And then before I got pregnant, I was on Lyrica, and if you take that, I did not know this, but if you take it like a lot, like basically overdose on it, you get high. And so when I got pregnant, I found out when I found out I got pregnant, or I was pregnant, I was on Lyrica, and I told my doctor, and they said, no, it's fine. But I started doing some research, and I read that it messes with synapses in the brain. And so to me, as a growing fetus, having the synapses in the brain being messed with, I didn't feel comfortable. They said to stay on the medicine. I did not feel comfortable doing that. I did not want to mess with my unborn child's synapses in her brain, or cause even like possibly cause anything. So I immediately stopped it. It was a full, I think 90 pill supply, and he took it. I found out, because he started acting really weird. And so I found out, I looked at it, and I knew that it had never been that bottle was a renewal bottle and that I had never taken any. So I counted it and there was a lot missing. And, I mean, he had done this with other things too. When I had surgery on my neck, he stole all of my medicine and then even drove 3 hours to go replace it because that was when we were dating and I broke up with him because of that. That's not okay. I just had surgery. My disc was removed and replaced. Okay, so that's another one. But anyways, within probably, I don't know, maybe a week or two, he had taken all 90 pills. And then I also ended up finding in our house, he was a practice administrator. And that was another thing in the beginning, is that we had in common, was that I had mentioned that, practice administrator, and that I had worked in the medical field for a long time. And I'm going back for my MBA to be a practice admin and all of this stuff. And that's what he started saying that he was doing. And he actually got a job, and I will maybe post where later because it's a big deal. But he got one as a practice administrator. But so how it goes is he chose the fields that had that type of medication. So it's technically, if he got drug tested, then it wouldn't show up as positive because it's not a narcotic. He was just abusing it. And that's like the same as like people who do that, like cough medicine and like drink like a bottle, like that just is, I don't know how people, I just don't get it. But, so I found like all of these samples, and they had been like, the pills have like the little powder or crystals inside, and they had been like ripped open, and there was powder everywhere, and there's all this stuff. And if you saw this man, you would never believe this, because he is so handsome. He is so charming. He is such a good guy. I remember when we dated, oh my gosh, he was such a gentleman. I was swooned. Honestly, I think the first weekend that we started, we were friends first, but when we first started dating, I think I thought in my head that I was in love with him already. And that is so out of character for me. So out of character. So there's that. There's the silent treatment. And a lot of that's one thing that narcissists do, is give you the silent treatment, because silence kills. Silence is probably the worst thing that you can do to somebody, because you're wanting answers and you're wanting an apology, and they're over it. They don't care. They never cared in the first place. That's why they did it. But they'll just ignore you. He didn't do much of that in my case, but a lot of narcissists do. A lot of people that I work with, I get this story all the time, is that they'll leave. If you confront them, they'll go somewhere else, and they'll just, until you get over it. And then you basically end up asking for them back. They'll twist things, what you say. So, again, what they are, they're going to call you. What things about themselves, if they've ever called you something that even if you didn't know they were this, if they call you something that you never were, then guess what? They were that. I mean, he used to forge prescriptions. He used to do all kinds of stuff. But when he was with me, we both made the choice to not drink, not carry alcohol in our home, not go out to bars, not do anything like that. It was a really, what I thought, perfect relationship, because he was doing what he knew I wanted to do. Another thing is gaslighting, and I'm going to read this one to you. So narcissistic mental abusers lie about the past. So he always lied to me about his marriage. He told me that he never saw her again. And come to find out, he was still married when I was pregnant. And that's pretty stupid of me, but I believe people, because I see the best in people, and I think that lying is probably one of, lie, cheat, steal. Those are the three biggest things that I cannot and will not deal with. And so I did not know this. I don't stalk people. I never reached out to our stepchildren's mom. I never did any of that. So I didn't know. And so they lie about their past. And he told me I was the first person. He told me he hadn't been with his wife in 2 years, which was such a lie. They got back together while he was with me, and then he was with another girl, and just all of this stuff. So that they lie about their past, making the victim doubt her memory. So they'll also lie about things that happened, and they'll start telling you, no, you did this, and so it caused me to leave. But that never happened. And they'll start doing it over and over and over and over, so much to where you start believing that is true. And you start believing that you're wrong, and that your memory is wrong, and that maybe you were too tired, or you weren't thinking correctly, and that you don't remember what happened, and you start to think that. And then years after, hindsight 2020, you'll realize that was never ever the case. And so they will make you doubt your memory. And what I always tell people is, if I were to walk outside with him and he said, hey, the sky is pink with glitter and tie-dye, then I would believe it, and I would truly tell other people that, and I would think that. And that's how messed up it got me in a very short period of time. My daughter is very young. My daughter is a toddler, and this was not long. Okay, it was not long at all. I don't remember exactly when the gaslighting started, but the other thing is they make you doubt I'm reading from this, they make you doubt your perception and sanity as well. So they're insane. And I will say that it is not that they're meaning to be insane. A lot, I know for him, he had issues because, one, the part of his brain was not working, and two, he was insane because of what all happened as he was growing up with his mother, because his mother coddled him. And literally, even I finally did, after I filed for divorce, I spoke to his ex-wife, and it was like, we both, it's not funny, but we both basically said, he's in love with his mom, like he's still breastfeeding. It's like, literally, he's like still suckling. Like it's just crazy. And so I think that had a huge part and a huge role in him becoming the type of person he is, because he always got what he wanted, and it was from a female figure, a feminine instead of masculine. And so he learned that women, feminine or females, are going to always cater to him. And so that was his complete, up until 7 years old, you don't have really, what it is you go off of what your parents and your peers and what you learn up until 7. Then you start growing into the person that you are, with your own personality, your own thoughts, your own belief system, your own everything like that. So all of those years then started that. And then his belief system became, females are going to do whatever I want. And he got that. He did. So because he was a narcissist, and he started with every girlfriend, with every single girlfriend. He did the exact same thing to every single one, and now he's doing it to somebody else. And because he had to, once I left, he had to replenish his source of supply. So also, they also do this to modify our behavior, and then they claim and give evidence of our past wrong behavior causing the doubt, and that we start questioning what was even said just a minute ago. He could say something, and I have recordings of this. He could say something, and then I would say something back, and then it would, be a conversation, and then he would say he never said something, or he would say I said something that I didn't, or he would tell me that I said something that I didn't, and and then I would question, did I just think that I said that and it actually didn't come out? So that's another one. Manipulation, big one for infidelity. The infidelity on his part was through prostitutes, and he had many girlfriends, and he slept with his coworkers, and I found out all of that. He didn't realize that Google Maps shows your location, so I would know when he wasn't at work, and it went on for a long time because I just wanted to see how long he was going to lie to me, because at that point I was 1,000 miles away from him. And I mean, he even did this on Valentine's Day. He did this on the day that I had to have a hysterectomy, an emergency hysterectomy. He was out cheating on me with a prostitute and drinking and doing drugs, positive for cocaine, meth, marijuana, all of these things. And it, again, like I said, if you saw this person, you would not believe it. But he was doing all of these things while I was in a state of, they told me that I may not live. I may wake up with a colostomy bag because it was stuck to my colon. And, a hysterectomy at 29 years old in itself is a huge deal, because this was my first and only pregnancy. I had never had an abortion. I had never been pregnant. I had never had a miscarriage. And then I lose my uterus. And so it's like, do I stay with, that was another thing was I wanted to stay with the father of my only child. It's not like I can move on and then have a family with them too. Like I wasn't done. I wanted to have more children. I love my daughter so much, but and that just tells me that, and on a side note, that she's my babe, and it's meant to be that way. So anyways, they will do a lot of cheating. Some things are more, apparent or worse for other people than they are for the next, or like, say some things didn't happen to you, but they happened to another person, and then some of the same things happened to both of y'all, but, not every single thing, has to apply in order for this to be a narcissistic personality disorder, and abuse. So then, again, the cycle is, it just goes from devalue to make you feel horrible about yourself, to value, to make you feel worthy, and then to devalue, worthy, all over. So you are constantly confused and constantly brainwashed. This is brainwashing. I remember my father telling me, and I would get to the point to where I actually started telling my parents and my family and my friends that, no, like he's the person for me. And I even ruined a vacation for my family by inviting him. And that was horrible. And no one talked to me after that, because I chose him over the people who truly love me. And I just remember the day that, I filed for divorce. Someone very close to me said, basically like shook me, not in a rude manner, but he is trying to kill you. And he did. And he was almost successful. I had 3 days left to live. And I was so blessed to have my life back and to have had a miracle. I'm going to say a couple more, and then I'm going to say one more, do one more before I get my daughter asleep. But I'm going to do one more thing that's on my mind, hopefully, if I can get to that. So we've talked about gaslighting. And then, the silent treatment, projection, twisting, manipulation. So a lot of times too is they'll abandon you, and then you will be alone, and that's just, you're so confused, and you will reach out to them and beg for them back. And they love that. They'll also play the victim card. It is very common for them to make up illnesses. It is very common for them to make up things like, say his children, he couldn't see them because he wouldn't pay child support. So he would say, you know, he would try to get me to feel sorry for him for that. And he wanted sympathy. He told me he had Crohn's disease, and he did not. He did not have Crohn's disease. And so health issues are a big thing as well that they make up. Let's see. And let me make sure I don't. Oh, another one. So the manipulation. So I had $550,000 worth of medical claims in 2 months because I had gone septic. I'd almost died. I had so many surgeries. I was just dying. And on top of everything that was going on with this relationship. And so he would tell me, because he was in charge of the insurance, he got our insurance stuff. He would tell me that my insurance was $2,650 a month, which it wasn't. I'm Native American, so I get a cost share, and with my daughter, we have a double cost share. And then we also, due to me being unable to work during my pregnancy, we also got I forgot what the word is, but we're a subsidy. So he completely lied. My premium was $0. But to keep me, he tried to tell me, okay, well, if you leave, I'm going to cut you off. And that's a big thing too, because my life was on the line, and I felt like, okay, well, I'm going to die if I don't have insurance. No one's, and I was in Texas, and it's a lot different in Texas than in Florida. Like, doctors don't take, first of all, out of state, most doctors don't take that. But secondly, they don't take Medicaid. They don't take things like that as they do in Florida. Most doctors, almost all of them, do take Medicaid and, you know, certain insurances that are for lower income. But here where I live, they don't. So I felt like I had to keep this plan. Sorry. So that was another thing. So yeah, so that's a control tactic to get the person to do something that otherwise they wouldn't. I said I'm leaving, and that control tactic made me choose life over death because I needed my insurance, I needed healthcare. It was vital. And so that made me choose something that I was not going to choose otherwise. So, you know, the victim card, and then, you know, I think I've gotten the most vital. There are a lot of other ones, the smear campaign, the stare, there are so many more, but I wanted to get, to speak about some of them and then bring in my story. I generally don't do that when public speaking. But with you guys, I feel safe, and I feel like comfortable doing that. And I think that I really want to get to know all of you guys, and I want to let you guys know my story and how I got out of it. And it took me a very, very, very long time. So I hope that if you aren't a follower, but you were led to this video, I hope that I would most assume that is because you are either going through narcissistic abuse, you are going through the recovery part of it, or you don't know if maybe you're in an NPD relationship and there's something going on that led you to this. So I will pray for you, and I will be adding more videos so that you guys can understand, and that way you can understand if maybe you're in a narcissistic abuse, narcissistic personality disorder abuse relationship, because I know for a very long time I had no idea what it was. And I had even taken a ton of psychology and sociology, and I'm a humanitarian. That's my bachelor's, communities and social sciences, and I have all of this knowledge, and yet I still allowed this to happen. So I will not play the victim card. I will not do that. and I will stand strong. And but I was not. I mean, there were days that I couldn't get out of bed. So I'm gonna stop this here, and I am going to add one more, and then I believe I'm going to go wake my baby up and play with her. And I really, really love you guys. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to message me, and I would be so more than glad to help. Thank you guys. Have a good day.